President Trump speaking this morning at a news conference in Poland addressing the threat of North Korea. Roll tape.
Not only must we secure our nations from the threat of terrorism, but we must also confront the threat from North Korea. And that's what it is. It's a threat. And we will confront it very strongly. President Duda and I call on all nations to confront this global threat and publicly demonstrate to North Korea that there are consequences for their very, very bad behavior.
Joining us now, Ambassador John Bolton, Fox News contributor and former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador, would we really target North Korea? And if we did, would it be those missile silos, understanding that they're already positioned for some sort of conventional retaliation to South Korea?
Well, let's be clear. We start from a very unhappy position because of 25 years of pursuing essentially the same failed policy of trying to negotiate North Korea out of its nuclear weapons program. Now, as predicted by U.S. and South Korean officials, they are very close to being able to target the United States with nuclear weapons. I think our diplomatic options are limited, and therefore, when you hear President Trump talk about a potential severe American response, that's what he's looking at. What would that entail? Possibly an attack on the missile launch sites, possibly an attack on the nuclear facilities. North Korea is also trying to develop a submarine launch capability, so we might look at that. And the risk is that even if we try to limited strike, the North might respond in a way, exactly the way you'd expect a regime like that to respond, killing civilians in South Korea. So it's not happy. I think there are a lot of possibilities we should look at to mitigate that risk. But let's be clear. I think the reason President Trump is so concerned is that his responsibility is to protect innocent Americans. And that's why, because the options are so limited, this unattractive option of a military strike has to be very closely examined.
It has to be examined, and it feels like the clock is ticking. North Korea's push has certainly been more exceptional, if you will, than anyone thought, perhaps even 6 months ago. And let's face it, the loss of innocent lives in this particular case would be South Korean lives, if indeed that happened. But at the rate we're going, Ambassador, is there an alternative? Because even yesterday, China and Russia putting out a joint communique suggesting that America also was at fault here for provocation. It was puzzling to me.
Well, these people, I mean, this is out of a Cold War playbook, and it's absolutely unacceptable. But it's what the Soviets did during the Cold War. They engage in some outrageous behavior and say, well, we'll give that up if you give up some behavior you've been conducting for a long time, so that when you return to stability, the West is worse off than it was before the crisis that the Soviets provoked. And that's the kind of line they've taken here. And I think it obviously shows Russia and China have coordinated in advance of the G20 meeting. And again, it puts to the lie the idea that somehow, whether through negotiation or sanctions, we can change North Korean behavior. We can't change North Korean behavior. They're never going to give up their nuclear weapons program voluntarily. That's why I think the only diplomatic play left is to convince China, and it won't be easy, that what we really should do is reunite the peninsula, that it would be in China's interest and ours, and you eliminate the North Korean nuclear threat by eliminating North Korea.
Next one for you, Ambassador.